London session can be one of the best sessions to trade, and the reason for that is you get the most efficient entries. This means you secure the most profit in the shortest amount of time. What I'm going to do in this video is show you how to trade the London session in under 5 minutes. So let's clear everything off this chart and start from scratch. So first of all, you want to trade starting at 7 AM as this is when the European Central Bank opens in Germany. So this time is obviously an hour in front of the UK. I'm on UK time, so obviously 7 AM for me, 8 AM for Germany. So first things first, what I want to do is look at momentum. So I want to look at momentum and internal, external. This is going to give me my basis to then look for the actual London move. So the Asia session typically is going to accumulate. The majority of it is going to accumulate and not have like a mad move like the New York session here did, for example. So you want to bear that in mind, that what we're really looking for is the Asia session to be used as accumulation and then manipulated by the London session, and then New York to have that big distribution move. So first of all is the momentum. If we look at the momentum of this most recent leg, you can see it's very fast to the downside and then very slow coming back up, which is exactly what we want. Obviously the Asia session being part of that slow accumulation. So exactly what we want really. So what I'm going to do is pick out a POI. So what we want this POI to be is internal and external. Internal being order blocks and fair value gaps. External being highs and lows. So within here, we're going to look for an order block or a fair value gap that looks decent. Obviously, there's a few things you can do for this. One of the things is to draw on your OTE, which is this level here, 705, 79, and 62, and pick an area near that. Obviously, most people would have seen this order block anyway, so I'm not going to talk you to death with that. But this is our main POI, and obviously internal being the order block, and the external being a continuation. Obviously, we are in a downtrend, so taking this low, right? A continuation of these lower highs and lower lows by a lower high and then a lower low. So that's the basis of the trade. Now, when the London session opens, what we want to be monitoring is order flow. That is the most important thing, and by order flow, we mean fair value gaps. So once we've got a sort of a rough idea of what we want to do, which is selling down to this point, we want to see how the Asia session accumulates and how the London session decides to manipulate. Now, typically what we see and what we like seeing is the London sessions open, obviously 7 AM, open, take out the Asia high, and then give us that nice sell down. That's ideally what we want, but that doesn't always happen. And the way we see if it happens or not is via order flow. So what do we mean by lower time frame order flow? Again, the exact same thing, internal and external. So fair value gaps and then lows and highs. So when we fill a fair value gap, we should then take the high, fill a fair value gap, and then take the high, then fill a fair value gap, then take the high. So if we have this leg of price here and we have a fair value gap and we are in an uptrend, as we've already identified in this little example, what should we do? We should really fill it and then take the high, right? And then after that, it should make another fair value gap. Then we should fill it and take the high. Pretty simple. So what we're looking for in this scenario, obviously where we're looking at sells, is one of these fair value gaps to get inversed. Now, what we mean by inversed is a close below. So if the candle closes below on the same time frame it formed, so I'm looking for 5 minute and 15 minute here for my order flow, and my order flow to get disrespected. Once we close below, then that confirms to us that order flow is switching, and we're then going to use this exact same level as our level to then sell off of. So it essentially goes from a bullish fair value gap to a bearish one once it's closed below and disrespected. And that is the basis for our entry and what we're going to look for. So as you can see, if we look at the market now, normally we would wait for the high to get swept. But if you look very closely, we have already seen a fair value gap get disrespected. We can already see a 15-minute fair value gap right here be disrespected. So we come into our order block, and very shortly after, we've had our bullish fair value gap be disrespected. Now, this is the most simple entry you're going to get in the world, and all you do, like I said, is the fair value gap switch. So it's no longer a bullish one, it's now a bearish one. So we put our entry here on the retap, we have our stop loss on the high, and we have our TP on this external low. And as you can see, the very next candle comes up, taps us in, and then begins to move to the downside. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The trade then just runs all the way smoothly down to the low. Now, you can have your TP on the Asia low. There's no need to always aim for that swing low. This one, it was a very clear example of internal and external, but sometimes you're going to get that order flow as your main reason for getting in. So be careful with that, but if you do get them times, then your Asia low is fine to be aiming for. But ideally, you've got something else that goes along with you other than just that Asia low. So again, we'll continue to play it out. And you can see this is a very efficient trade. This is what I mean about the London session. Where you're only aiming for 20 pips, we managed to catch that trade from start to finish in 2 hours, right? So we would have started at 7 a.m., finished at 9 a.m., and then we're done. We're done for the day. That's it. Now, this trade was sent in as a signal, and we also do trade the London session live with our members every single day. So if you want to get in my Discord, then I'll leave a link below. But other than that, I hope you can now trade the London session with a little bit more confidence, and I'll see you making some money in these markets very, very soon, boys. Appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.